evening, everyone. Hi. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and it's a pleasure hosting you all, having an interaction with you. Thank you for coming. So, when we talk about consumers, they're constantly juggling between online and offline channels. Okay, today, when I look at myself as a consumer, I go informed to a store. I've read a lot. I've researched every aspect. I'm buying a washing machine. I'm buying a fan. I'm buying anything. I research everything and then go and then ask the store person that hey, what do you have to sell me? Is these products are interesting. So the pressure is back to him that he has to make a sales pitch so convincing that I have to buy that. And if he's not able to convince me, then there is a possibility that I still continue with my research and still continue with my travels. So what does it mean? It means for the brand that it means for the brand, that they have to empower their, in-store salespersons with a lot of knowledge, with a lot of data, which is the key point, to ensure that, the customers who are walking in, they are able to make them understand. So today, it's a challenge and it's also a learning, where, brands are investing towards it. They're working hard towards, training all their, in-store people on how to do this. So together, ET, Brand Equity and SharpSell, we are here, we're gathered here together to understand, what are the key challenges, what are the key opportunities, what are the key pain points, when we look at the consumer durable industry of, how we can train these in-store people, how we can, create a playbook for success, for the in-store success. So thank you once again, for joining. Today, I, Devesh Gupta, who leads content at ET Brand Equity, will be hosting this session along with Mr. Arun Subramaniam, who's co-founder and chief business officer at SharpSell. Yeah. So let's do a round of introductions. Sanjay, let's begin with you.
So my name is Sanjay Chitara and currently I am working with LG Electronics as senior vice president. And it's almost 25 years with LG Electronics. Prior to that, I was with Videocon almost 5 years and 3.5 years with Federal Lloyd, which is now become Lloyd.
Right.
So it's almost 32, 33 years of this consumer durable industry.
Super. Sheryl?
Hi, me Sheryl. So currently working with the Feedstar, so as a product group head for small home appliances. Prior to this, I was worked for around 9 years with the Philips home appliances, and prior to that, I was there for a stint of around 2.5 years with the Havells. So my total experience there with 15 plus years, and majorly in the small home appliances category and the personal grooming category, like shaver, trimmer, and all those.
Great. Thank you for joining.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rohit Jain. I currently head the brand stores and retail for Havells India. I've been with Havells for about 1.5 years now, and prior to that, I worked for Samsung for about 4 years. And before that, I've almost spent a decade in apparel and lifestyle companies. So I've worked with Raymond, I've worked with urban brands across various stores.
Great. Thank you for taking out time and joining today. Videsh?
Hi, I'm Rajesh. I'm currently working as a strategy head in Lebanon, India. And prior to that, I was working with Godrej, where I was handling the locks division, which is the hardware industry, and multifaceted roles like product head, channel head, key account manager. So it's been around 18 years of experience that I have. So it's a combination of hardware as well as electrical market. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for taking out time and joining today. Sweet.
Hi, good evening everyone. My name is Sunil Chopra. I am currently Vice President in IIB. I'm taking care of sales and marketing for IIB. Prior to IIB, 15 years I was with LG and 5 years I was with Hire. So I worked in different levels, right from manufacturing, R&D. I started my career as an R&D guy, then moved on to sales and marketing, and then in LG only, and I moved to product positions. From there I moved to business positions in Hire, and now I'm currently heading the sales and marketing of Hire. And overall entire career has been in appliance industries, with majorly into refrigerators and washing machines and others. Means larger appliances.
Yeah.
With total experience, kind of 21 years.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you.
Karan?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karan Sood. I work with eGuard as head of go-to-market and trade marketing. Prior to this, I was with Bajaj Electricals in a similar role. Before that, almost 13 years in FMCG industry with Unilever, Marico, GSK Consumer. So last 3 years have been in this small appliances, consumer electricals space, and it's been a good journey from FMCG to appliances, and a lot of areas, a lot of convergence. So good to be part of the session.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Karan.
Hi all, this is Arun. I started my career with Whirlpool as part of the washer manufacturing plant in Pondicherry. Then I went on to do my MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, post which I worked with Philips for a few years. And then I started a company called N Paradigm, which was into simulation-based learning, and then founded Sharpcell now. And I think the focus has always been with what we can do with people on the front line, and spent a lot of time on the field. Looking at how people sell in addition to also selling Sharpcell as a company and products.
Great. So let's begin. Let's start with one traditional strategy that each of you have deployed at their stores. That has helped boost the overall in-store sales. Sanjay, let's begin with you.
So the whole strategy is based on two pillars. One is creating footfall at the store level, and second is creating more conversion. The customers are already there, and creating the conversion so that we can get a good hit ratio. India is a very typical market where we have basically two seasons. One is the summer season, the other one is the festival season. So when such seasons are there, when there are organic customers are there, we focus on traditional tools of making more conversion, like offering various offers like cash discounts, easy finance, various gifts, comedy offers. So various such offers we give. And whereas when the off season is there, if you remember, earlier this 15 August and 26 January used to be flag hosting or watching TV for the Republic Day parade. But now the big retail chains and brands have created like a Black Friday kind of setup, and these two occasions are in off season only.
Right.
So that's a very good example of creating footfall.
Sheryl?
Yeah, adding to this, currently earlier when I was there in my initial career, so there was, if we talk about specifically for the small home appliances category, so the more than 45% sale of the entire year was bracketed to just in the month of say September, October, November. But nowadays, the trend is completely changed. So now hardly 20 to 25% sales are there in 3 months, and entire sales is segregated to across the month. And even the very lean month of the year, that month also giving a good growth pertaining to the previous trend. So it is like now the appliances industry is like go and buy, and very important role of the that ISP or the frontline, that guy is standing there to promote the brand. So because a lot of brands are there, lot of shops, retails, that guy plays a very important role to take that decision to the consumer.
Interesting. Rohit?
Yeah, so since it's especially specific, also I'm focused on the people who sell, right? Traditionally what we have done is we have looked at the sales as a formula, right? So it's walk-ins into conversions into the average ticket size and so on, and then looked at what can that sales promoter do to influence each of these, right? Can you do something to influence walk-ins? Yes, maybe we can work on a certain database, right? We can start calling people around product launches and so on. Okay, can he influence conversion? Yes, if he is trained well, if he uses the affordability, the EMI, etc. well, then yes, he can influence conversion. and what we can do to increase the average ticket size. Again, affordability tools, right? Maybe I can pitch to the consumer that instead of buying in full, why don't you buy a better product but pay in EMIs? So there are different strategies which we use to link, again, tie back to this business formula and resulting to sales.
Viresh?
So for us as an industry, we don't have seasonality as the finance division here. So for us, the main thing is in store, first of all, to educate the customers. Like the customers really are not into the buying decision. So the whole thing is how well we educate them so that they can make their independent choices. Right now, what is happening is they are completely buying behavior is completely dependent on the influencers. So the whole idea over here in store is first of all target the influencers and make them educated. What are the products that we are having? Give them the technicalities, which indeed will educate the customers in a way. And at the same point of time, give knowledge or product details to the customers via online medium or the offline medium, and ensure that they are well educated before making any purchase decisions. So we do a lot of these activities so that conscious buying decisions are taken place.
Interesting. Sunil?
Yeah. See, I would like to, in addition to all the gentlemen what they said, one point which I want to say is, see, India is also in evolution mode. One thing which we have to understand is that, from a rural India to a semi-urban to a urban, now retail is in evolution mode. Now whether we say retail is a Reliance Chroma or something, no, because every shop is now becoming a retail center. Now what normally even a kirana store outside your home at our childhood level, what used to be, now it is more of a kind of a need store which is everything having, and you just walk in and buy anything. And that is what Shailendra said, you just walk in and buy. So with this kind of retail evolution happening, what question you asked, Devesh, is that this sales representatives, what we call as a different names in the companies, like in our company it is the CSR or ISD in LG, becomes crucial now, because any investments which happen now will be the retail evolution in the future. Now retail evolution, when I say, is what he also said rightly, that training at a bigger store level. Now when a customer walks in, he 50% or 30% of them walks in with a brand in mind. 70% walks in with a need in mind.
Right.
Now need and brand both are totally different. Now there the key role is there that our in-store representative has to just guide and sense the need. Now this is multiply divided into, one is evolution of retail where we have to invest onto it. The second is the need of the training, that he have to understand the EQ part, emotional quotient has to be there with that guy, that he understands the need of the customer.
Right.
The third part which I believe in, that if you understand the EQ also, if you understand that now evolution is happening, where do I need to invest? The most important part which I think as in-store representative has to have is, he should technically be equipped in language, because India is actually 4 countries in one country, kind of a northeast, west, south. Language barriers, a lot of people moving out with India opening up, a Punjabi is staying in South India and a South Indian is staying in Punjab. Right? With this kind of evolutions happening, if languages and all the video trainings and everything is not given to these guys, they can somehow show the video also that, okay, this is what my product is. Now this is what is India in a digital India today. So I think digital India, retail evolution and the training part, which is the EQ part, all three has to go parallelly now, and most of the brands, LG, all IIP, everybody is starting investing onto it now, because until unless this retail evolution is tapped now, we will not be able to grow. So anybody needs growth has to do this. That's what I do.
Very interesting, how you intertwine 3 things together, language, retail India and digital evolution, which is, absolutely right. Correct.
So, just to bring another twist, so if you look at FMCG industry, where you have a strong connection with the brand as a consumer, what I've seen in this industry is that the point of sale, decisions can easily change. I mean, depending on the advocacy of the retailer or the persuasive capability of the in-store promoter, people who have come thinking I'll buy a IIP may end up buying an LG at the store point. So Therefore, what we have tried and has worked somewhat is you need to build advocacy with the retailer first. He needs to be convinced to sell your brand, which can happen via the right go-to-market, right customer-facing time. Someone spoke about the salesman who visits these stores, so he has to spend enough time. He has to be trained effectively by the organization to impart the right product features, benefits to the retailer. So once the retailer is aligned, the next job is to align the consumer walking in. Now that happens via in-store promoters. All of us know that today in-store promoter is a hygiene today, but how do you make them capable? Or how do you, all 10 on 10 promoters are ROI positive for you? I think capability plays a huge role there, or training plays a huge role there. Real-time training not just on product, also on selling skills. All these things matter a lot. Visibility assets, play a huge role. These are old things, but they've played a huge role. Share of mind, directly into what you see inside the store. And I think Brijay spoke about influencers. In our industry, influencers play a huge role. Be it electricians, plumbers, contractors, architects. They are very important piece in the value chain. So you need them also to be active. What they recommend usually is followed by the consumers. So these are some of the pillars that have worked for us.
Very interesting. Some of these points are like the influencer that Rajesh mentioned. I think we'll discuss a little more, as the discussion progresses. Coming to you, Rohit, like Sunil mentioned the confluence of digital India and sales. So today, as a consumer, I'm pretty much informed. I read a lot and then research and then go and buy a product. So once a consumer, who has come to buy in-store has done some research, in last few years, how has it impacted your overall retail sales strategy?
There has become a quite commonplace now that consumers, they typically tend to research online before coming to the store. Especially true for high involvement retailing like us. Right? So there will hardly be any. I would be surprised if the customers walk in without doing his preliminary research. Right?
So just a quick question then.
Yes.
So are you suggesting that it's prevalent across like rural, urban, everywhere, or is it just like urban folks kind of do more research? Or do you see a difference there, or
See, I would be only mentioning one point here that with Digital India, one thing is very common. A big thing is that a 1 GB data which cost to be 500 rupees a GB now is less than a rupee. So we have to understand this thing that with the evolution of Digital India now, a rural customer to have that access to maybe a GB, maybe he don't consume like us a GB, but he will use less. But he at least knows, and the Google has played a key role in that. Just Google speak, okay, I want this, and just you get that. Now that is something. If I have been traveling to rural India for the last almost now 3 years, right, with higher and IFP expansions. What has happened is when I even talk to a rickshawala today, and I see that he's opening a YouTube, and whenever he's not having that customer with him, he's watching a movie. He don't know how to type a movie name, but he know how to speak. Now that kind of evolution which has gone to the rural India is playing such a dramatic changeover in Indian mindset that even if a today customer is who was actually a Maruti customer, now he's just saying XUV 700, right? And he's saying, okay, I want to see the features. He may not buy it, that's okay, but he's a probable customer. And the best part of this is that the moment he logs in, the Google digital marketers are there and they just tap it. Oh, this is my probable customer. Even you and me travel to Pune, I get a Pune property ad on my Facebook. You know that if I'm sitting here, I get the advertisement.
Targeting.
Right, so that's a targeted customer marketing which all brands are targeting today. So that is something which is playing I would say one of the biggest changes which will come in next 5 years. And you will see that our rural customer looking forward for an interior decorator, though he is actually having a home in a 3 acre or 1.5 acre kind of a but he's very interested to see the interior parts. So he will search, okay, one interior, then he will get the advertisement from a living, what do you call it as this? Live space and all. They will tap it. So this is bringing a dramatic change in India today. And this change, I think those brands which will tap it will be the, I think, future leaders. That's what I want to say.
Sorry, go.
Rohit,
Yeah. And again, continuing on rural, we are so bullish on rural that we've already started opening stores in villages as low as 10,000 population from this. Right, we've already opened 450 of them this year. Really bullish on rural moving forward. Coming back to the question that you have asked, and the consumer purchase journey is now, I mean, no, we can't qualify a customer as an online customer or an offline customer. It's a journey which transcends online and offline, right? And we, as a part of our retail strategy, we have to respond to that accordingly. Right? I mean, if a consumer has come to my store after having done his preliminary research, that's half the job done for me. That means I've done something right online by creating the right content, right? By making myself discoverable online. Right, so when you are searching category or the brand, right, maybe everything will be important, right? At least to be in the consideration set of the consumer. That's why you want them. So with discovery, online product discovery, brand discovery, feeding the right content and influencing so as to bring the brand into this consideration set, right? And finally, also be able to present to him the nearest store, right? So that if somebody really wants to experience a product, then he knows where the nearest store is. All of this have to be done online in the online space, right? Similarly, in the offline space, we also have to integrate a lot of omni-channel strategy. Right? For instance, if a consumer who has already researched me online has come into my store, I would have 3 clear objectives in my mind when I deal with that consumer during this journey. And if I institutionalize all these processes, then that builds into my retail strategy. Right? The first objective would clearly be to, since a consumer is coming into an offline store, definitely I would want to give him the right experience that is only available at offline, right? Which is the product experience. He can't experience product online, right? So give that strong product engagement and product experience to the consumers from offline, right? Give him the right advisory. Again, advisory is something that is not possible to provide in an online environment, right? So give him the right advisory. So that's the 2 things which I would want to accomplish in terms of giving him that value of the offline experience which is not available with other channels, right? Second, I would want to avoid any dissonance between the online and the offline, right? If he has researched me online and he has discovered some price with some product, I would not want to disappoint him and tell him a different price when he is walking to my store, right? And so, I mean, this price parity between channels is something which each of us need to ensure that we do going forward, right? How I can integrate technology at my store? Probably I can again have an endless aisle at the store, which can serve two deliverables for me. One is it expands the entire offering beyond what is on display at the physical store, because physical store has again space limitations. Right? So I can offer the entire range to him through endless aisle. Second, I can ensure that there is no dissonance on account of unavailability. Right? While online everything is available, there is chances that when he comes to a store, something which is looking for is not available. Right? Hence, if I have this endless aisle at the store, I will be able to remove the dissonance between online and offline. That's the second objective which I would want to fulfill. And third, because the customer has already walked into my store, I would not want to miss out on the feedback from him as to how he discovered my store. Right? So I would want to integrate this knowledge either through an NPS or through a CSAT, right? and not want to miss out from this intelligence. This is something which we do.
Very interesting point, towards saying that you mentioned about taking the feedback in terms of the CSAT and the NPS scores. Earlier, what used to happen, brands used to do brand lift study, every 6 months, couple of quarters, to understand, is my brand doing well in that particular region, in that particular area. Okay, now what brands are spending on is, capturing those data signals, capturing those data pointers, that they can get from, what Sunil mentioned, targeting and retargeting. They know that, Sunil can buy a house in Pune, so he's the right person to target them. So, Shailendra, my question is to you, marrying, this with the sales, how difficult and how easy it is, marrying the right data signals and the right data that you have captured, for the customers who have visited your brand, in online realm, how easy it is, to create a sales strategy.
Okay, so let me tell you, from the background. So earlier it was like years on years. So juicer mixer grinder. So
Hmm.
one example. So it is keep on coming over the period of time. Some brands get the big share of that particular
Hmm.
segment. Then over the period of time, that category started declining. Again, same happened with the irons category. So the normal dry iron, then the steam iron got picked up because people earlier was like not very much familiar in the tier 3 or tier 4 cities. So they very handy towards the dry iron category. So where the dry iron was selling more. Over the period of time earlier it was like a data trending that multiple agencies are providing a data to you. You do your analysis accordingly. You plan your strategy and make the next year roadmap of the product launch and all those stuff. So now it is keep on end to end every month or say every quarter. Trend is keep on changing very fast. So the new generation or say called Gen Z. So now Gen Z is going into a new era where they are about to marry. These Gen Z are not very much fond of the brand. This is one, and they are very quick decision changer. So that anything they was very likely to have yesterday, and today they are like nowhere to for that particular thing because now they focus on something else.
Correct.
So this is like that. So a lot of example are there. Say they are very fit pro. So product. So now the traditional juicer mixer grinder. So now they don't want that particular traditional juicer mixer grinder. They want a very handy small 1 or 2 single jar mixer grinder that mix well properly for the food preparation, or they want product like juicer called slow juicer. There's a new emerging category. So the pulp will be there, wastage should not be more. So now the new category emerging itself, key requirement of a separate juicer standalone and mixer grinder standalone. Apart from that, many of the product like say on the go, so called personal blender. So it's having a very small 150 watt motor there, and there are carry jars also with them. So you just blend your shake, your
bullets.
protein or something like this exactly. So these kind of a product trending like anything. So this is kind of a trend that we are keep on getting, and accordingly we are planning for the particular thing. And now the product decline cycle, that is also so earlier. We always having the aspirations like we should have a food processor there in our house. So all of us will definitely agree to me. So whomsoever having the food processor now, so that is there blocking one window of our kitchen. No one gonna to take it down, washing it up, using it. So it is there only. So now the very small handy product is trending, and that we all getting from the consumers feedback and day out whatever we are getting from the different sources.
Interesting, actually, these sales signal, these data signals helps you create new products.
New product line, yes, and there to decline also because we have to phase out also accordingly. Yes.
So I think 10 years ago it was vacuum cleaners.
Yes.
Now you need another vacuum cleaner to clean.
So now, yes, very good point. So let me add something else. So earlier there were lot of the vacuum cleaners, and there was a phase to decline cycle for vacuum cleaner also. But now a brand, say Dyson, okay. So they came with the new technology, though very niche market, vacuum cleaners starting from 40-50,000. So, but they targeted themselves on a very different channel strategy. So they are not going to the distributors, they are not going to the retailers. They themselves established where they were, their target audience is coming. They are keep on giving demos to them, even on their houses also. So the boy is going at the shop floor and giving demo at their house. So this is kind of the strategy where other brands are not able to sell a 5,000 rupees of the vacuum cleaner or say product, and they are selling at the price of 40,000 and good quantities. So if you see the data in last 3 years, they are keep on growing by more than 200%. So this is the power of say frontline, as we were talking the ISP. So again, so the average cost of an ISP is like say around 20,000 rupees in shop promoters. But their ISPs, their demonstrators are 50,000 plus. The quality, the handy, the skills, communication, everything, knowledge of the product, it's at par level. So this is like
Very interesting. You also mentioned about Gen Z and how determined they are, in terms of buying products. They're not loyal to brands, but they are determined to buy product that kind of fulfills their need. Sanjay, my question is actually to you. Okay, so how in this era, once I've done my research, how determined I am to buy the product. And when I walk into the store, okay, how are you mapping? You have anyways mapped my consumer journey. You have an idea of that. I have done my research and I'm in the mood of buying those products. So how do you marry the two? My determination versus your strategy.
Now consumers are more knowledgeable than our promoters. Almost the research says almost 90% of the consumers are searching online before visiting the stores. However, there is another fact that out of these 90%, only 10% are buying from online. As far as our categories are concerned, that is the larger, big size appliances. People are still looking for the trustworthiness, though there are many easy return or other offers are there, but still they want to come to the store, touch the product, have a feel and look. So whenever they visit to the store, so our promoters are very good in explaining the products. Now we are teaching them to read the consumer's mind. Now somehow, if the consumer is talking of too much about one particular SKU, where he has aware of the exact number of the product, LMW 4720, do you have that? It means he has come from many other stores and he has the price also. So it's better not to go into the price fight. Shift him to so he is already fixed to a brand because he has that brand model number. You fix to the another model where he does not have that benchmark of the price. Whereas in some cases he has come with a fixed technology in their mind, which you do not have. Like he is using keyword like bubble wash, whereas we have steam wash. He is using inverter, whereas we have smart inverter. He is using, say, an air conditioner 4-in-1, where we have 6. So they try to catch him which brand he is talking about without opening the name. So somehow we are training them to smartly position your brand. When the consumer enters in the store, now the situation is, I have seen many stores. If you go to the eastern side, there are almost 50-60 sales promoters are there, and there are 3 customers. It will look like so many consumers are there, but there are all sales people in the lean season I have seen. So, they need to be different. Now the new culture is, since the consumers are less in some cases and the sales people are more, many retailers have fixed their turn. So the first customer will be handled by this brand, second by this brand, and if we miss this opportunity, it will go to the another one. So when a consumer enters, they do not know which brand promoter they are talking to. So they have to act like a very neutral consultant. So things are very evolving and getting very challenging these days. These things are not very simple. He rightly mentioned at the store level, they can shift the brand.
The last summer I walked into your store, the guy was not selling me AC, he was selling me AI.
Yeah.
That's what.
One point of time we have around 10,000 sales promoters across all over India, and then we decided that we will have a uniform for them. So there is a red shirt and black trouser. When even I don't recognize everyone. So when I go to any Reliance or Chroma store, I may identify who is the person Then we found that the consumer become very choosy in that case because he will give a biased opinion. So we made, I mean, we removed that. Only for our brand stores we are giving uniform. So things are evolving, changing every day. Uh, that's how the retail has become very challenging.
So, so another point there is that, see, one is about our product, where, I'm sure people have reasonably enough information about what it is. But the other one is where customers, who may have certain needs. And when we are expecting these ISPs to tap into the needs and talk to them. So one is we can have templates saying, when somebody comes in, they use this keyword, so it's a relation you pay to. The other one is to really put our sales folks in the shoes of customers and say, think through how their home would be, think through what their use cases are. Let's say if a man of the house comes and talks about the fridge, why is he doing that? If the lady of the house comes and talks about it, why is she doing that? So how do, and this is not just to Sanjay but to all of us, how do we really help our frontline folks relate to customers? Because they, in most probability, they come from a very different kind of household, very different kind of socio-economic upbringing, etc., etc. But now you're expected to talk to somebody as if they're your friend and understand their use cases. So how do we do that, given that the kind of people who are our frontline salespeople and more often than not, our customers are not exactly from the same households, if I might call that.
Actually, you hit the nail. The problem is now customers become very premium. They want to buy most expensive or the latest product. But the biggest barrier is that these salespeople, their orientation, their mindset is not that premium. Whenever we launch a new product and it's very premium and we want a particular price, the biggest resistance comes from these people. So, it's very expensive. It is available at this price. So changing and their mindset, that's a real tough thing for which we have been training. You go to a bank, you have seen big multinational banks, the interest rate is same, but there is a different greeting and environment there. You go to say any Indian bank, you will find that pen is with Hari se banda hua hai, because their thinking is that pen chori aayegi वहाँ पे. I mean their mindset the same. I mean the interest rate is same.
I think that's the same Shailendra was mentioning about the Dyson example when he was talking about that.
Yeah, I would like to mention is that we from LG and higher and even in IFB, we now call it as an experience shopping.
Mm-hmm.
See, consumer is not going for shopping anymore. He is going there for experience. And what happens is, what Arun rightly mentioned is that, how do you handle that culture change? All of us will agree here that, how do we train us, instead of promoters? The first thing is namaste, or whatever, vadakkam or whatever. How many family members you have? And what are your eating habits? Just to bring it to that at a same level in the beginning itself. And then we understand that, okay sir, which previous refrigerator you have, or which previous geyser you have, or which previous kind of a brand, what kind of things you are using. What do you understand from that is, everybody is training a competition to the ISPs. What happens, somebody says that I am buying a V-Guard, for example, geyser, or water heater in that sense. And I've come here and I'm saying, no, I'm using old national, some local brand. Now he understands the problem. इसमें rusting आया होगा, बिजली बहुत खाता होगा. The immediate connect this ISP has to do is, what Mr. Sanjay rightly mentioned is that he has to connect to the need. A need is, he has come down maybe because the national AC, old local geyser has gone wrong now. But he has to hit him that, sir, no sir, this water heater is now 5-star, it is giving you so much consumption and plana and this. And these many, and water is hard in your area, this will work because our filament is designed for this. So if you connect like this, then the experience shopping, which I'm using the word, is the shopper who is come here to just buy a water heater. You understand, bloody, this guy understands me, and it becomes an experience for him.
So that's more like the ideal scenario. So what you just mentioned, that it should be like that. Right? Sanjay also mentioned that the mindset thing, which is very right. In nationalized banks, you see the pen attached with the ribbon. Okay. So how do you change that mindset of those ISPs, to ensure what you actually mentioned should happen? They should greet, they should ask that.
See, these are the common challenges which I think almost all brands are facing today. That common training, common kind of communication, and common kind of greetings and all what you said. For this, one thing which most of the brands have tried, like we are trying today, is an IFB. We call it as a 133. Now, when we say 133, means a one brand message. What brand is about? Now, brand, like for example, say IFB says, or higher say inspired living, or LG says stunningly stylish. This is the one brand message. The three top features, which is common. So how can you bring commonization into the things is, everybody should speak same. Now when I say, for example, this water bottle, I have to sell, okay sir, this is a water, brand message of the water is mineral water. The second point which I have to speak about is, this glass is a food grade glass. There's three top features. Then the three consumer benefits. Nothing else you have to speak first.
Right.
Now when we see, I'm not saying this is implemented. This is something, a route which brand is taking now, because we found same issues what you are also saying, is that when we go from a Tamil Nadu to say Vijayawada, entire this south belt itself, right? We found a lot of issues which are coming, that this guy and this guy are different. He is saying refrigerator is 5-star, whereas this guy is saying refrigerator is having more puff thickness. Now, how should we commonize this? So there we said no, for IFB or for LG, for Samsung, these three messages have to go down the line. You only speak about this. This is one thing which we said. The second point what we are doing is every brand is now investing on the zonal trainers, branch trainers, and even at the rural level now investments have started happening, that all the trainers. So everybody have a TTT program now, train the trainers. So train the trainers concept brings into this thing that you have to train first the trainers what to communicate down the line. So if these guys are not at the same page, then these guys definitely will not be. Because the communication, if I speak to Mr. Sanjay, maybe he will understand 50%, then down the line only 50% will go, net only 25% is gone. So what we are trying, train the trainer is equal to the head office. And then actually goes down 70%. So this is the main communication issue which you are talking about. So this communication issue, first point is commonality. That is what we have, I think it is working phenomenally well for us now, that what we are telling them, you only have to speak this. The only barrier which we are facing today is the language. Okay. Other than that, more or less everybody has accepted this thing, that it has come from HO, that these three things have to be spoken for this product. The only thing which comes from that is any competition changes which happen. Like for example, against my three, if tomorrow LG comes and says these three ko aise kaato, then the question starts coming to us, sir, these three now has become stale, what are the new three? These things will keep on evolving. So what I am saying is, these are the kind of changes which will keep on, as Mr. Sanjay said, retail has become I would say a real nail-biting experience for actually the brands. कि अब मेरा brand बिकेगा कि किसका बिकेगा? It is kind of that much tension is there. Right. So for doing that, commonalities and trainings and developing learning centers and everything has to be developed, and it is in evolution.
So that unified messaging can trickle down from the top to the.
This is one thing, unified message. If we are not going to communicate, then one guy is going to speak about, as I said, maybe this is a water bottle. The other one is going to say, no, this is not a mineral. It is not a mineral water. Right. So water bottle and mineral water bottle is same, if you and me understand it. But maybe some customer will come and say which minerals are there.
Correct.
Because customer today is actually totally evolved. They say which minerals are there, you are cheating us, you are this, you are that. So that kind of common message has to be given that when somebody asks for minerals, you show the catalog. That is
Very
the
quickly, coming back to what Arun said, today, at least in the small appliances space, the discussion between the ISP and the end consumer is still very transactional. So this product versus a Havells product rates higher because of ABC, so the features are this, advantage of this one, etc. The emotive part of the getting into the house of that consumer, what you said, getting his life, etc. So those skills are still limited. As someone said, this guy is a 20,000 rupee per month kind of guy, so you can only expect limited intelligence. That to the EQ part is very limited with this guy. But this is a space where I think more and more people are realizing we have to not just train him on the product aspect, but on selling skills, on behavioral issues. That is where I see more training being given and more focus coming. So, but it's a very big opportunity. Today.
Right. And how does it happen at your end, when it comes to making the right sales pitch, making it, communicate to the customers right? How does it work at your side?
So, adding to what Sunil said, see, there is a physical channel and there is a digital channel. There is a digital evolution and there is a retail evolution happening. One and the foremost thing is the communication commonality. So, what you're preaching down the line with the help of your promoters, that thing has to also get reflected on the digital channel, because it has to marry. Because customers learning, they're doing their research, they're doing their homework. Is it marrying or not? For us, the promoters, what we train them is understand the customer first. What is he looking out for? So, for example, our industry is very much into a transition phase, where the customer is not making the decision. They are highly dependent upon the influencer. So for them, whatever we would say is like a jargon or it's like the word of God. Unless until it marries with the word what the influencer is also teaching them, right? So we look at the keywords, as Sanjay said, they are looking at the keywords. And when that marries with the talk that have been done or research that they have done, my half of the work is done. So we tell our promoters, look at the need, what is the need they want, what are they looking out for, make the solution simple for them, because it is highly technical product. It is very, very complex. For them, if I give them jargon which is very, very electrical, they will lose everything, they will not be on the same platform as me. So for them, I have to talk in a very, very basic common language. Once I understand the need and if I give them a solution which is complex, but when I address to them, sounds very, very simple, they are on board. And then when we walk the talk with them by saying, okay, for you, this solution is good enough, you need not go beyond that. Then he knows that, okay, this guy is not upselling me, but he's being very, very relevant to what my need is. And then the confidence is built with my promoter, and then once the confidence is built, the conversion takes place. And then the word of mouth starts for me on the front line, where the customer goes and says, this guy is a better person. Retailers might pitch anything, but this guy educates you. He turns around, he sees the 360-degree view, angle, the need and all. And that's the same. So that's how it works for us, basically. And it's been a very good success. We have a very good conversion ratio on our physical stores or platforms. So it's really working for us. Right?
And how are you ensuring that there is a seamless, seamless understanding between your offline and online channels?
Okay. So what we do is, both the platforms cannot be ignored because both are evolving. Retail is also evolving and has become very, very important, as well as the digital, because there are different set of customers who are making the purchase decision. There's a new generation who's making a purchase decision online, and there are still the traditional customers who are doing. So both becomes relevant fast. What we do over here is we try to marry both the channels.
Okay.
So there is an online channel which gives where the purchase decision, the product knowledge, seeing the entire product portfolio, making conscious buy decisions, getting all the knowledge. But being a very, very traditional Indian market, the customers like to feel the product. So what we do is we give them the information, we tell them to select, give the product references. we pass on those leads to my people down the line, which is offline channel, where we invite the customers, go their microsites and all that what platforms they use, and we direct them to my offline channel where they can feel the product and all, and their set prices decided at the background, and that's where the conversion takes place. So both are married. So as Rohit said, there would be discrepancies in the prices. We avoid that because everything is in tandem. They're talking to each other, and that's why we don't have these price wars going on like offline and online channel. But yeah, the whole thing is we marry them in such a way that it goes very seamless, and there is a customer experience which what Sunil was talking about is given to them, and very at a high elevated level because they have an online experience which they have gone through they have seen the seamless transition, browsing, and then when they come here, there's an informed purchase. There's a promoter who's telling them giving them the required information, and they can making a conscious decision. So it becomes a very perfect marriage to make a decision or convert a particular lead for.
Coming to you, Rohit, how are you guys, empowering your customer-facing agents, channel distribution partners with the intelligence, to serve customers better?
So it starts with how we define the scope for the customer-facing agents, right? So for us, now we have started evolving it. So for us, it starts from the person who opens the door for you, right? Then the greeter or the usher who ushers you in, right to the salesman who deals with you, and culminates with the cashier. Right? So all of them have to be under the scope of all of them are consumer facing, right? And hence whatever intervention that we plan has to be done for all of them. Right? In terms of what we are doing for them, in terms of giving them the intelligence to serve the consumer right, I think we have to layer it and start with the very basic and the first layer, right? Where we should not end up. Why we want to facilitate them? First, let's start with not impeding the kind of service that they can provide the consumer, right? Which can possibly begin with ensuring that the products are available, ensuring basic hygiene, right? कि store पे कोई अगर कोई product लेने आया है, we ensure that the product is available at the store, right? Price dissonance again. If somebody has come to shop your product at the store, we need to ensure that price consistency between the channels is there, right? Otherwise, what do you expect your salesman to sell your same product when it's available cheaper online? You can't, right? So let's ensure that basic hygiene at the store, right? Ensure that advertised products, the focus products, are available on demo at your store, right? So ensure that first basic level of hygiene to facilitate the ISP to transact with the consumer. So that's the first step. Second, on top of it, maybe we can begin to train the ISPs. And when we start to train the ISPs, we also have to realize that, being humans, there are constraints, right? So there are constraints of retention, right? Being in a multiple category company, right? We can't expect them to be expert at everything, right? So we can train them on few which are really needed, and maybe facilitate their understanding of the products through aids. Right? It could be ready writteners available with them on the tabs. Right? It could be some visual aid available to them, which can prompt them to service the consumer right. So that's the second level of training. And we also need to understand that these are busy people. Right? They're short on time. Right? They may not be able to undergo multiple rounds of training. Right? While they can do once in a month. Right? Maybe we need to start bite-sized learning for them, appreciating that the kind of time constraint that they're living with, right? So, reinforce the key concepts through LMS, through bite-sized interventions for the ISPs. So that's the second layer beyond the hygiene, right? And on top of that, maybe we can, now that we have a lot of data available, right? Through AI, ML, etc., we can really start to evolve customer intelligence that we have, right, to meaningful insights for the ISP to act upon. And this data can really help us do personalization at scale. All of us know that personalization, as of now, is really important to the end consumer. Right? So, first level is we broadcast the same strategy to all the consumers. Second is you segment the customers into various segments and then reach out to them segment by segment. And third is to really personalize. Right, this personalization could really happen basis the kind of engagement the consumer would have done with you online or offline. It could be what pages he has clicked on your online on website, right? What pages he bounced off, right? What is it that he has added in his cart? What has he bought historically with you? Right? What is it that is added in his wish list? Right? So all of this can possibly maybe give some kind of predictive analytics for the ISP.
Right.
But if we are able to do that, then I'm sure the ISPs, we will be really able to facilitate the ISP to deal with the customer.
Like Sunil mentioned, correct me Sunil if I'm wrong, okay, that whatever the training is being given, 70% of it or 60% of it reaches to the ISPs. How much is it that in your case? Because this is very impressive, empowering them with data, giving them the right understanding of what has happened with what is my purchase history with them, or do I have any grievances with them? Somebody can solve that, and ask the right questions. But how much of it actually reaches? How much of them get trained actually?
I mean, in our case, we have just embarked on the training journey about 6-7 months from today, right? So we have ensured that we have adequate number of trainers available on the ground. I mean, the benchmarking that we have done is we should have one trainer on every 100 ISPs, right? And then we've also tried to evolve a certain training charter for our ISPs, right? It starts with doing classroom trainings, right? And the content is something which is prepared centrally, where it is consistent across all ISPs. So all the trainers will need to adhere to the central content that is being created centrally. Right? So, one, it starts with the classroom training. Second, we emphasize a lot of on-the-job training, right? Because that's where the product is available. Right? We can't ensure that the product is available at the time of training in the classroom. Classroom we use more or less for the role plays. Right? So that's the and we feel that the classroom scenario is most ideal for doing role plays. Right? At the store is where we really do a lot of product training interventions, because the product is physically available and the trainer can really demonstrate the product to the ISP. Right? But we also appreciate that the retention of these ISPs is not really what we expect it to be. Right? And hence we need to do a lot of reinforcement trainings through LMS, which is a learning management platform. Right? So do bite-sized interventions on a weekly basis to reinforce key concepts. Right? So that's what we do to reach some level of retention by the ISP, some level of consistency.
So Rohit, while there's a lot of effort put into have the right information with, let's say, our frontline teams. Today, the customer also on one side does their own research, and especially this is something that we've seen, especially with the young crowd today. That one, I know I'm generalizing a little, but they have become a little less social than what, let's say, people like us were. And today, when, let's say, somebody in the younger generation walks in and they kind of hear something that they believe is not true or that they know is not true from their online research. So today we don't see a lot of discussion. We just say, oh, I think it is X. You're telling me it is Y. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Is the sense that I get. But does that happen on the ground where people don't even want to have conversations today, when they find the dissonance between what they know is true, whether they're right or wrong is one, and what they hear from the ISP? So what typically happens on the ground when there is a mismatch? Because this mismatch is going to, we see a lot of mismatch already. I have kind of experienced a lot of it myself, where, I will say, hey, I want this feature. This is really, sir, yes, same here. And I'll be like, dude, no, it's not the same. I've spent like half an hour reading about this. Please don't tell me it's same. And, sometimes I try to explain, my point of view. Sometimes I walk out, and I've seen that, some of my younger cousins, they just say, boss, why are you even talking? Move on, let's go somewhere else. I'll buy the same product elsewhere, but not from this guy. So to combine this part about, so how do we handle this dissonance between information customer has, information our ISP has, and the trust that they have to build on the ground? Because at the end of the day, that trust is what swings in. So I just thought I'll take your views on, one, how much do you see this happening, and how do you see this evolving?
I'm sure this must be happening in terms of how an ISP should be responding to such a situation. I think it will help if I, as I mentioned before, if we have a ready reckoner provided by the brand, right, which really puts the trust of the consumer, and he can showcase it on whatever mode he has to the consumer, that this is what it is, right? And it also boils down to the kind of behavioral training that we are imparting to the ISP. Right? For instance, as I mentioned, the retention of the ISPs is limited. We can't really expect to train them on a lot of concepts in one go. Right? So what we do is we have one behavioral agenda for 1 quarter. Right? So we pick communication skill set for 1 quarter and really then reinforce the how to the part of communication in that quarter. The second quarter we pick selling. Right? I mean, how to deal with such kind of exigencies or I mean, disconnect with the consumer on product specifications, etc. is also a kind of behavioral training which can be done with the ISPs. It can be a model in itself.
Your thoughts on the discrepancies between the information that ISPs have and the consumers have?
So what happens when there is a clash? And what is your observation on what happens when there is a mismatch in information on the feed?
There is something else which the consumer is looking when he visits to the store more than the product information. Now, one is he does not want to buy from online because he does not want to deal with machines, the delay, the buying, which if anything goes wrong. So when they visit the store to understand the correct deal. Now even the product price has many layers, many commercial layers. Only a chartered accountant can understand the real price. I'm telling you, like if you go to the store to buy a mobile phone, one is the product price, then there is an exchange subsidy which will be applicable to everyone without giving a phone in exchange, for which promoter helps the consumer to, there is one EMI so he helps the consumer to do this all calculation to give that subsidy. Then if it is a laptop, then there is a student subsidy for Apple, for which he gives a idea to get your niece, she's studying or somewhere, some ID or so he teaches all these manipulations. That product is leave aside. Then there is there is some cashback. So many cashback. Which card there is a cashback? On debit card you will not get. If it is a housewife, you will not get any. I mean, there are so many things, commercial aspects, for which you need a help at the store. Their role has become totally different now.
Coming back to you, Sherin, how are you leveraging data, to help your ISP, like a proactive sales pitch? The points that Rohit mentioned, that they need to understand, my previous history. They need to understand if they have that, the proactive pitch becomes better. So how are you doing that?
So basically, it is like providing that some particular model or say particular category is driving good in particular part of a region, and somewhere it is not working properly. So then we have to capture that what exactly is happening there and what is not happening there. So first we have to marry that data. Apart from that, it is very important that ISP, as Sunil also told, that it should be because he is the very first chain of the entire value chain. So this is the very first chain. If ISP is presentable, very important, should have a good knowledge. And knowledge is one thing. Apart from that, the softer skills of that person, to identify the need of the customer. So Sunil will cover that particular part. So the need of the customer, what exactly he is looking for. So say if his bracket, that we need to understand in first 1 or 2 minutes of the conversation, where we need to understand what exactly he is looking for. Say might be he is looking for a mixer grinder, say representative of say mixer grinder of 2,000 rupees. But Philips, brand like Philips is not having a mixer grinder in 2,000 rupees. So he has to understand that need and immediately shift that customer to any other of his colleague or any other promoter ki show him the say any other brand the mixer grinder, or say promote him, is there any opportunity to upgrade him? So I have this much of the, you are looking for this, and I am having a product that will, appointing your need also. Apart from that, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional features also there that will help you like this. So basically, you can say a concept called WIIFM. So to tell the customer what is in it for him, कि उसके लिए वो कैसे बेनिफिटेड है, अगर वो कुछ एडिशनल, उसका बजट 2000 है बट वो 2500 तक चला जाए, तो वो 2500 में उसका क्या बेनिफिट है। तो एक तो वो एक बहुत बड़ा हो जाता है। दूसरा ये कि जैसे आपने बोला ऑनलाइन वर्सेस ऑफलाइन भी एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है। सो इन द स्टोर एक्सपीरियंस now we have to focus more on towards the, not only in terms of ISPs. So as we are doing this practice now, कि apart from the ISP, we are appointing some demonstrators also.
Okay.
So what they are doing, say, as we are having a locality where we have some 10 stores or ISPs. So among those 10 stores, we are having, say, one demonstrator. He is keep on rotating, say, weekly basis to X store to Y to Z, and he is demonstrating product like air fryer. So now you are going to buy something else. So you just have a, touch and feel of that air fryer, that this is oilless, the healthy, this, that, etc., etc. So you might not buy today that product, but you are experiencing it. So you will have a backup in your mind that yes, this product is good and I am getting my OBC, so then I have to buy this product now. So these kind of a thing, adding value to the customer basis on the information that our representative is there, who is working all these things. So this is one of the.
But is there any customer specific data that we are using, saying somebody comes in, can I please take your email ID, mobile number, check if you're already my customer? Are we even there yet where we are able to, because one is a broad profiling of customer which we can understand, but is there any customer specific information? Is there even a move towards that side where we are even looking at getting customer specific information, or that's quite far off?
Whenever we ask upfront to the customer, can I your number, can I check? So he get offended.
Right.
But post, when we are completing the sales, so a lot of things are there that this product is having, say, 2-year warranty. So if you register yourself in our site, then you will get additional warranty of 1 year. So where we are getting the data in terms of to exchanging additional 1 year of the warranty. So that kind of a thing, or say if you are not, say sales is not closing. So there we can offer, sir, okay, that's fine, this time you are, not say convinced. So we have this 500 worth voucher. So whenever you will buy any Kainstar product next time, so you get this additional. So the redemption of that particular voucher, when we go in the data analysis or account part of that particular, it's hardly 7-10%, not even in 2 digit. So it is like a recall value there in the customer mind, and you get that data also. Is now I can get your number and detail, because we are offering something in spite of to take that information or number or something.
Yes, to add on here is the one thing which is happening now, which we are trying now, is that when a consumer is going on a Google now and he's putting his because we have his details at this, but digital marketing is only area right now tapping it on offline. Currently, as he rightly said, that customer don't give the number because of the spam calls. But today, what's next level we are tapping is that anybody going and searching for example, a refrigerator. He's just putting a 500-liter refrigerator. He knows his needs. Now that customer is he may be a 6-month later customer. What we are trying to do through our own channel, maybe the brand shops, is that a one customer which is searching in a Bangalore, say Whitefield area or something like this area, okay, he's searching for a 500-liter refrigerator. Now that information is, while we are searching it, we have some digital marketing expenses on that. And what we are doing is, we are telling him that, okay, this customer in Bangalore, Whitefield area and this is searching. We not have all the data of that Google ID is there, but we may not have all the details of that. And that is where we start tapping the customer, and 50% of them also, by the time we reach them, have purchased also. But 50% still are 6 months later or 3 months later customer who has started searching today. So these kind of things have started happening, that now with the digital era, this thing is going to be something where we can tap the customers in this way. But yes, offline taking the phone numbers and the email IDs from them is only a post-purchase era now. Pre-purchase era is only through some marketing things. Marketing leads happen in such a way, like he said, one coupons. Another marketing leads happen like, supposedly he has gone to a multi-brand outlet, he has purchased a LG thing. Okay, something I have given as a accessory of something. Okay, so you buy this. Third can happen through service. Like my service is going to a LG customer who is having a IFB washing machine but is having a LG refrigerator. It happens. Now at that point of time, a service engineer goes and gives him a one coupon. Sir, future, in any time if you want to buy XYZ, R this. Now these are the, we understand, and some customers open up and say, yeah, I want to buy in next 3 months. What is the discount? What is the exchange? What is the, and we note down his number. These kind of things are happening, but at the store level, it is very tough to get the customer's name now because they don't give at all. And specifically, if they are not saying otherwise, but specifically in terms of our rural India, if ladies have come for a buying and you ask them their number and name, they say, no, thank you. So these are the challenges which India is facing today, but that will evolve.
See, there are other practices also, adding to what Sunil said. One of the key things is the lead management program, basically. So there are a lot of platforms which you create on your own. So you can make your own platform where you can generate leads by targeting the audience the way you want it, and then put the ads.
So talk about digital.
Yeah, digital. So pre-purchase is what we're saying. So put the ad, give them a bundle of products. They might not be interested in your product, but they might be interested in some other product. But then you still have the lead, or you have the information coming from the customer. At the same point of time, you have third-party platforms like IndiaMart and all, where you can tie up and you can generate leads and then convert them into your business. So these are the platforms where you can get information proactively from the customer and then convert them. So lot of things you get. You not only get the email ID, but everything under the sun, which they have to do at the time of registration or at the time of need definition. You get a lot of information from them, and then you keep going back to them, nudging them, or doing the AdWords and everything. You keep targeting them.
See, in this store, one of the practices that I'm seeing, which is sort of emerging, is while you're talking to the consumer, there are applications. I mean, in fact, I've seen that with you also, where you tell the consumer that we can share the product features right here, right now with you on WhatsApp.
Right.
Just share the number with us, and you see 15-20% conversion. I mean, some people avoid you also, but there are a lot of people. Okay, at least there is a proposition. There is some incentive for him to share his number. So there are people who are willing to share the number if, as he said, there is some bounty for him. In this case, it is just the product features. I mean, given he has shared some initial query, I'm looking for a water heater in 15-liter range, etc. So, okay, so then this guy will just immediately say, sir, if I can have your number, I'll share the entire catalog with you. If you don't want to buy it right now, maybe when you go back, just consider it, and it will also have my number, you will call me back, etc., etc. So that's some kind of entry we are seeing in terms of making or getting the numbers or whatever details before purchase. So that started happening a bit.
One new practice which we have started, which is very old company. We have almost 25-26 years, and we sell almost 30-40 millions TV one point of time or distance refrigerator. So we have millions of consumers. So whenever our service engineer visits, so there is a data privacy act or consumer. So we try, and when a service engineer visit, at this point of time, the consumer is in his most distressed situation, and he come as a god, fix his product and everything. So he creates a connect with the consumer, and that weaker movement, they try to take the consent form from the consumer for future, giving some happy call or check. That's how they place the whole thing or informing about any offers. And we have found that we are getting a good success in this.
No, Karan, my next question is to you. How are you, empowering your dealer network, with the right data? So, we're talking about the phone numbers, we're talking about, my requirements, the consumer's requirements. How are you empowering your dealer network?
So the dealer network is a altogether different animal. We are moving away from in-store now. Dealer network's job is to distribute, fulfill, replenish the entire network. How we, leverage data in this space is one in the area of performance. So, you have a large sales force team in your payroll. So, are they achieving their targets? Are they selling the right product, etc. So all this is a result of data tracking, etc. Second is resource allocation. So have you deployed right number of vehicles, or are you going through the right route? So route optimization is one key thing across companies these days. To save costs, etc. Again, a result of data. Working capital management. So are you sitting on the right inventory? Are you sitting on the right assortment of inventory, etc. All this comes from data. One of the things, relating to the in-store discussion, today a lot of leads are being generated, offline, online, etc. So that responsibility is also being given to these guys to sort of, move forward with the leads and convert those leads. So especially in the solar water heater space. This is a new space where everyone wants to convert. A lot of leads are getting generated, but conversion is low. This is a new space, people don't understand, etc. So these things then travel back to the stores. If I'm a dealer, I have a store allocated to me, I want to convert this lead, I will have to first ensure that stock is available in that store, that promoter is knowledgeable about their product, etc. So lead conversion via your store, via the ISP is becoming a important thing, especially in categories which are not so easily understood. So these are complex categories. So solar power heaters, solar inverters. I'm talking from my organization perspective. So these areas we see higher traction via the ISPs if you train them well. So this is how we are leveraging data today. Data is very important. So dealer today, if big data, if used properly, tells a dealer what to sell in this particular store. Given this store is in a particular neighborhood with certain demographics, with certain affluence. So then the dealer is told by big data that this is what you have to place in such a neighborhood. And the promoter is also by the way trained accordingly. Because the assortment available now in this store is very different. Let's say you're in South Delhi or South Bombay versus upcountry Patna. The trainer or the promoters will have to be trained very differently because the assortment available. To give you an example, in air cooler space, we will have the most premium air cooler available in let's say in a Patna or in a Delhi, etc. Versus when you go to a Gaya, right? So the promoter will have to be trained accordingly. Now, which is a result of data of that particular neighborhood or affluence or demographic.
Right.
So data plays a very important role in the Asian taxes.
Sunil, you were mentioning, today one of the key areas is that, as a consumer, I go and search on Google that I want to buy, 500 ml refrigerator, and I do a voice search on it. Okay. So as brands, how are you, spending on it because spends have to happen on it, and then directing them to your in-stores, and is there a way where you can identify that that this customer has come with a predetermined approach, predetermined focus on that I need to buy the 500 liters, so that when customer is there, you can directly talk to him with that 500, the specs of that 500 liter fridge.
See, there are two aspects to it. One thing is, like I said, how we are planning to use this is through the keywords. See, normally in India, pronunciation is also different across the parts of India. Somebody may say Google, somebody may say Google is a common word, so everybody say. But refrigerator, somebody saying fridge.
Right.
somebody say washing machine go, somebody say printer washing machine is something or a semi-automatic washing machine. Now there are many pronunciations in India. Now how we are tapping it is that when we are discussing with the digital marketers that how can we tap this is through how many kind of researches we have done. Now, like for example, recently we were doing a research with some agency and you're telling them, okay, start from Dharavi. It's something which is, now we say Dharavi is something, but if you go there, there's a chawl with a 500 liter repeater also. We may not understand that, but that is the reality. Right? There is a chawl with the AC. Now from a Dharavi, when we go to, as you rightly said, Patna, Gaya or Odisha, right, or we Jharkhand. Now these kind of researches when we are doing, the keyword research is becoming the key here. How we are investing onto it is that somebody as a keyword, what kind of 1,000 or 10,000 keywords we have to put into as a X brand.
Okay.
Somebody searching X thing should divert him to that brand.
Right.
One thing is this. The second thing is how can we divert this to our brand shops or our dealer network or something is any customer leads what are coming out of this research is like, okay, this customer with this Google ID is doing now. Nearest brand shop or a nearest dealer network of ours is updated onto it that, okay, this is the research or the lead through our service network, through our lead network management teams and everything. Third thing is like, for example, everybody invests on marketing, like a print ad or a, you can say some local language ads or some paper outlets or something, what we are doing. In that, you can mention top 20 dealers of yours. Now, what happens, it helps dealer confidence also. Dealer becomes very confident that, okay, brand is investing on me. And what happens, dealers, now, suppose that ad has gone to one area, say, Jasola of Delhi, that ad has gone. Now, Jasola customers, if somebody is searching, he may not know where to go.
Correct.
He is only searching online and he is only being directed to Reliance store, but he don't want to go to Reliance store. Now, what about there? There is a LG brand shop. Name is there, phone number is there, everything is there. At the sitting in a AC, he can call. Okay, sir, today you come, there is a discount scheme also, promotion also, XYZ, and he is pushed to the, actually is being pulled to the shop. So multiple things what we are trying to do is, one is digital era. Okay, we have to tap through keywords. One is through the print media and everything where we have to give the shopper's name, as Arun also was asking that there's a dissonance between millennials and all this. Now millennials don't want to take the car, go from one shop, two shop, three shop, four shop, five shop, six shop. They'll never go there. What they'll say, okay, this is the best shop where the ISD is there. He will just go, those millennials with Gen Z, what he said. He'll just go there. If you don't like it, no, he will just move out. He'll say, bloody hell, I don't want this customer. This guy is not actually helping me.
Right.
But those Gen Z customers, those millennials actually are knowing that this shop is the best. So there, if we also as a brand recognize those top 20 dealers, where we have our top in-shop promoters, where we know the quality product is there, where we know that dealer sells premium, right? So if we just tap that, and we know that through data, as we all are mentioning data, we know which shop owner is selling the premium. We don't want to sell entry model only. So we have that data. In those advertisements, in those investments by the brand, in those everything what we are doing, if we start highlighting that, right, I think in another 2 years, 3 years, if those dealers also feel confident and the area changes start happening, and we have seen that happening, say in South. We have seen that happening in Kerala, where we have given certain these kind of investments, and everywhere the dealers have started getting that confidence, and the consumers also are moving to those dealers. And we have centralized those dealers into the sales point. So these all areas of keywords, investments, everything has to be, I think, centrally controlled. No, I would say now we have to start decentralizing it, where the local guys know better than us. They know better than us. If I start controlling Kerala Onam from here, I may not be able to control, but better Kerala Onam guys control it in a local level. TV advertisement works or a paper advertisement work, or this dealer wants to sell or this dealer wants to tell. I think that kind of things also have to start evolution now. because that is not happening today. Today it is more of a centralized things.
Okay.
Decentralization, I think in future, other than the training part, because that will not be commonalities, on the sales front, on the SEOs, on the keywords and everything, we should take the local guys' feedback and centralize them. And okay, you do it now, and evaluate the results. If they are not doing, then take it back. That is how the things have to do.
So when you talk about different approaches, is there also a different approach between the ISPs that we have for, let's say, own brand stores versus multi-brand stores? Because the kind of customer walking in is also slightly different, the mindset is slightly different. So do any of you have an actively different approach to
It is there.
both of this?
It is there. Because see, most of the brand, I think Mr. Sanjay will vouch for it, that most of the brand today are working on a DMDC concept. When I say DMDT, is different model, different channel. Now that is where everyone is working on it. When I say it is a LG brand shop or a IFB brand shop or anywhere, I have a different SKU. It's a premium one. When I say it is a rural upcountry market, I have a totally different store. When I say it's a Reliance, it's a totally different SKU. When I say it is any other channel, it is totally different SKU. Now, if, for example, he rightly mentioned that, one cooler of a Patna versus a cooler of a Gaya will play a totally different. If my Gaya, ISD or in-shop promoter is not trained about the premium SKU and Patna non-premium, and Patna is also then, but he's trained about premium also, but he's not actually expert onto it. Right. So what happening is various different channels. As he rightly said, there are different channels of MBO and brand shops and premium stores. Everywhere, I personally have seen across the brands now, you will find the common SKUs also, but you will mostly find different SKUs, bit difference of specs. Now, if training won't be happening for channel wise, then definitely we are going to be failure, and definitely the most premium SKUs are there in your own stores. Because you are actually earning from those premium SKUs and you are actually spreading those earning into the loss-making partners also. There are every kind of partners in the market. You cannot earn from every partner. You have to earn from channels, you have to give to some other channels, and that is how the business runs. You everywhere you can't be profitable. It has to be a cumulative profit. That is how I think today businesses will work.
But outside of training, is there even an outlook in terms of hiring different people, etc.? Are we going there, or we like
only the quality of training makes the people change. Otherwise, hiring level, I don't feel it is like because level remains same, that he has to be a graduate and he has to be this thing. So it is only on the skill level. Only after the data evaluation only we come to know, okay, this in-shop promoter is one of the best in X store. Now this store should he should be moved to my brand store because where my premium sells. I think this is how the most brands are working, but while hiring it is not happening that he is premium, so hire him.
Just one addition here. I mean, of late what I've again seen is that these third-party agencies, one whose payroll these promoters are, they are now starting, to maintain some performance metrics of the ISDs.
Yes.
So you can pay premium, a slight premium to hire a slightly better guy, etc. You're given that kind of visibility. If you have an old relationship with these third-party players, these are big guys. I mean, and they've of late started maintaining that database. So you can hire a specific kind of guy. Earlier, what Sunil said was applicable, that you will only come to know about a particular ISP only after hiring him. But today there is some history in terms of performance capability that you come to know by the third-party aggregators.
Are you seeing this industry-wide?
It's a recent concept.
It's a recent concept.
Yeah.
See, also I would just add to current points is that the relevance and the actually confidentiality of their data, and actually their data is right or wrong from the third party is not actually, most of the brands actually have confidence on, because third party will have his own biasness.
Yeah.
So that biasness can't be at the cost of a brand. So we as a brand people will not take a third party, actually preference things, but yeah, definitely we like to evaluate through our HR. Because those kind of things are definitely a challenge today.
Absolutely.
So biasness is something which is actually in India currently, hiring agencies are actually not that professionals. I would say the third parties are not that professional. I would be very honest on it.
No, I'm reminded of how hotels upgrade you at reception when you go. They say about like a window facing room for you, and I'm like, hey, that's what I already had. It's
Very interesting, very interesting. So before I wrap up, I think there's a presentation that Arun would like to showcase. So
yeah. Talk about this. We operate in the area of frontline sales teams, and I think some of us have already kind of interacted before. But broadly, our focus has been to figure out how we can enable frontline sales team. And the history is that we used to do a lot of work with CHOs, CEOs, then middle managers. And when we started working with people on the front line, we realized that the learning interventions, the typical way, don't work for people. And when we spent a lot of time on the field, people looked at us and people did these modules, learning modules. We rolled it out to a few of our clients. People did this for 1-2 days, and after that they would stop doing it. And you call them up and say, "Bhai, kya hua? Acha nahi laga kya?" And they'll be like, modules सब अच्छा था, but it's not relevant. ये सब ज्ञान है. So our question was, how do you not give them ज्ञान and make them feel that it's relevant? Because what we realized is people on the ground wanted immediate gratification. So if you can give them something that they find useful, they could use today, tomorrow, you're like amazing. Otherwise, you're one of those, in their parlance, corporate gyan giver, where you just come say something and move on, and you don't really understand the ground reality. So for them, that's when we realized that what people wanted was not really learning. We had to give them something that they can use to educate the customer, and it doesn't necessarily have to reside in them. So our question was to say, how do we use people on the front line as conduits to impress upon the customer rather than focusing on making them the experts? Because we came to the conclusion, at least our hypothesis is that people on the ground are not really experts. We can call them advisors, we can call them anything, but the reality is they are out there to earn their living, and most people took up this job because they didn't get anything else. So given that that's the reality of why people take up the sales job, especially as an in-store demonstrator, our question was to say, how can we give them something where they don't, one, of course they have to sell and they have to earn their incentives, and more than half the people don't earn incentives, etc. So the question was, how do you give them something where they don't feel the need to, they don't say कि यार अरे एक और चीज करना है मुझे, यार one more thing is coming, where they kind of do something on their own because they know that this will lead to them getting some money, because at the end of the day it's about money. And we also, I think one of the things we didn't talk about is the attrition part, because we've seen that by the time somebody comes up, they're already out of the system, and then you have to start the process all over again. So our question was, given this reality, what do we do? So we looked at what this is, and I think what we realized is that people want expert advisors, but we can't make people on the ground expert advisors. So that's where we kind of look at this and said, how do you kind of make them look like experts, and how do you kind of make them put them at a higher pedestal than what they are with the customer, so that when a customer has an interaction, customer feels that मुझे इस interaction से कुछ मिला. I'm walking away a little more knowledgeable about this product or this category than what I came in, because not every conversation leads to sale. So our whole idea is, how can you create these playbooks which are going to be repeatable, enforceable at scales, and exhibit certain winning behaviors without relying on the intellect and intent of the person on the ground. How do you kind of take away some part of it is where our focus was, because if everybody was super capable, everybody had to do everything we asked them to do, then all our lives would be very easy. So our question is, how can you give them something that they can use along the way? And for us, it's about 3 parts. So one is, you talk about what is going to be your seller life cycle and what is going to be your sales life cycle. So for a seller life cycle is from the time somebody walks into the organization till the time they exit. How are they going to do? Because some people are going to be new to the category, some people are going to be new to selling in itself. So they're going to go through their own learning curve. And second is, every time a customer talks to you, or every time there is a walk-in customer approaching you, there's going to be a selling life cycle where customers would come with different intents, customers would come with different ideas, customers would walk in with certain thoughts in their head. How are you going to start from a place that you're completely unaware of? Because customer can start from 20,000 different points. So how are you able to catch hold of that starting point, engage the customer, and ensure that they broadly, you tell them that boss, I understand what you're looking for. Let me make some reasonably, intelligent suggestions to you on why this product will work for you. And of course, then you talk about how you're going to gather some intelligence analytics while this keeps happening on the field. So this is broadly where we look at. And okay, now it's become too small, but the whole idea is that so the focus is on saying how can you kind of help your salesperson at different stages of the interaction. For example, if a customer walks in, then how are you going to, ensure that you understand their need? If you can't understand their need, can you use some of these playbooks to show that boss, I understand your need? Can we kind of help them do this? Once a customer is interested in talking about your need, how can you make certain specific product suggestions? Once somebody is interested in, let's say, one or two suggestions, how can you close the loop and say, sir, I know you might not make a decision now, but let me kind of leave something behind with you. So how can you kind of, because one of the other expectations that some brands are going through now is to say, how can I have, offline connect beyond the store? I mean, some, let's say, multi-brand outlets allow you to have devices, some don't. But the question is coming in saying, hey, now that you've stuck a cord with, let's say, 20-30% of customers who walk in, can you kind of take this beyond and can you kind of establish? So we say you can't just let the person on the field have that communication on their own. You have to kind of constrain it so that it stays within the realms of what is acceptable by us. So you can't have any and every conversation, but you need to give them something to say, boss, stop, because you can't expect them to type something out and initiate conversation. So how can you do that across this is where Sharpsell really comes in. And the whole idea is how can you give them something that is just in time that they can use on the field. Because like I said, memory is, you can't expect them to remember everything. Customers know more about certain products categories. How are we going to help them make it much more personal? Because you're talking with like 20,000 customers, but the customer is coming and dealing with like 2-3 people. So when they're going to like do shop, let's say hopping between shops, how can you say that, hey, we had this conversation and I understood your need and I'm going to leave something which is personalized with you. So how are you going to make that interaction personalized so that the customer, when they walk back, they come to you and not go to anybody else? How are you going to measure some of what happens offline using role plays is where I think we focus on. And so we've been very active in the area of BFSI, for the last 4 years. So we work with a lot of leading insurance companies, banks, pharma companies, etc. And it's been in the last 5-6 months that we realized that the problems faced by people on the front line across different industries is, some of the core problems that we spoke about here are also there, where people keep churning, people don't know all the products, your salesperson always knows less than your customer, your salesperson cannot really connect with the customer, you have limited time to interact. So we've solved for some of this in a lot of large, BFSI companies, and for us, we realized that the challenge is not very different with consumer durables, and I think we've kind of started working with consumer durable companies in the last few months, and thankfully for us, with the BFSI companies we work with, pharma companies we work with, we've been able to showcase a demonstrable increase in productivity at a specific user level, and we've been able to establish the correlation, because I think it's like we were talking about marketing, right? You know that 50% of marketing spend is useless, but we don't know which that 50% is, right? So with Sharpsell, fortunately, we've been able to have some level of attribution. Of course, Sharpsell goes along with some major initiative that the organization is already running. It's not like Sharpsell, everything will go up by 30%. But as long as there is an alignment there, we've got a lot of, very good demonstrable results, and we've been rated as one of the best sales enablement tools, both internationally and locally, and I think that's something that we're very, very proud of. So, and the idea of us coming in, I think Rohit had this question. He said, okay, what are you doing here partnering with ET? So, I think the broad answer is, one is, for us to get some visibility that we exist and we kind of do this. But I think the more important part is for us to really understand customers and use cases, because as a team, we've done a lot of work in primary research. For example, when we started working with BFSI, one of my other founders, he took a sabbatical, he became an LIC agent, and then we started doing it, because for us, even though we are a technology company, we believe we are a sales company. So we have to understand how people sell to create something for the salesperson. We can't say, this is another tech tool, use it, because we've seen people don't use it. And wherever we have worked, we have been a tool where sharp sell has always been adopted by people on the front line, because it's like hyper relevant to what they are doing, and unlike you don't have to force it upon people, and that comes from our experience. For example, even today in CD, for example, including let's say Rohan and Disha, we spent a lot of time being in stores, shadowing people, doing mystery visits. I mean, not mystery visits, in our case it's just a normal visit, but we don't end up buying anything. But to understand how people converse and sell. So while that can be done from our side, the idea also is to learn from industry experts so that we can make our product much more relevant to people on the ground. And that's like one of the objectives that we wanted. And I think thanks a lot all of you for making it and sharing your insights, because that's going to add a lot to how we are going to keep evolving our product and make it relevant to all of us in the industry. So that's it from, I think there's a thank you slide as well, yes.
Some really very interesting insights which came out on experience shopping and how the price discrepancies which are there between online and offline, and how it is becoming a major concern, as well as what a consumer understands and what a ISP understands, and how there is a conflict and there is a gap in that. So all these areas are pretty interesting, interesting problems to solve, because that actually kinds of helps brand grow and create a higher level of customer satisfaction, and plus the growth and sales is always there. Thank you very much everyone for sharing your insights.